I'm Robert Hendee. I'm sitting here with a friend for many years, Don, and Don's going to tell us a story and it's not a story. He lived this, and it is amazing testimony, and we want to share that testimony. But first, let's give you a little background on Don's history. Tell us about growing up. I understand your father was in the ministry, and your mother's
Yeah, yeah,
been a strong believer for many, many years.
yeah. When I was real young, and just 5 years old, 6 years old, my grandma, she raised me, and she used to drag me to church. Of course, I wanted, to go with her, but I would go there, and she went to one of the Pentecostal Holiness Church down there in Kentucky, and so I was raised all the way up till I guess I was 12 when she died or so, maybe a little less. But anyway, I came back to Cincinnati. Well, I was raised down in Cincinnati, but my dad, he became a Pentecostal ordained preacher, and I was raised from through the church with him. And of course, my mom, she was been a Christian for 50 years probably, and so that's how my history is as a young fella growing up. And then my experiences here that I want to talk to about is things that happened to me in the year 2012. Uh, More or less, I was here in the home, and I had a hurting in my chest, and I thought maybe it was just indigestion, so I got me a Coke and was sipping on it. My wife had to leave. She was going up the road that Saturday morning early, and I told her to go on because I thought, well, the pain will go away. It always does. But this time, the pain didn't go away, and I started to the point where I couldn't breathe. And once I got to where I couldn't breathe, I called her up and told her, I said, I think I'm dying because, I can't breathe and the pain is tremendous. So anyways, I dialed 911, and they took me out of here and took me up to the hospital up here in Wilmington. And I found out I had a lung collapse. So they went ahead and released the pressure and got me back breathing good and not hurting. And that went on for about a week. And then a week later, I was getting ready to go home. In fact, I think I might have been dressed and ready to go. The lung collapsed again. So then, after that, I told them I wanted to go to Christ Hospital. They hauled me down there, and I wound up, the surgeon found out I had some problems with some blebs or whatever you want to call them on my lung, that they had to take those off. So they took about an inch or so off my lung and got rid of those and got me back to breathing halfway decent. But I've had a problem breathing for several years, and they've been trying to figure out what it was. They couldn't figure out what was causing all the problem. So I've been going to heart doctors and lung doctor and all of this. So after I got kind of up, 6 months later, got over the lung on the right side, they decided they would take a biopsy of my left lung. And I was going to go down in August. I think the 24th is when they done that. But before I went down there, I think it was the first week in August, around the first week, a friend of mine, a real dear friend of mine, called me up and he said, hey, he says, you want to go have breakfast? And we were on our motorcycles, and I said, yeah, I'll ride down there, get out for a while. So I was able, we went down to the restaurant in Blanchester and had breakfast. Well, he said, well, I think maybe I better go on in here and use the restroom before we take off. He wanted me to ride over to a friend of his house or business over there in Morrow. So I said, okay. So he went on in and came back, and I thought, well, maybe I better go. Being uh, it'd be a little trip there with it. So anyways, I went to the bathroom and I came out, or when I went in there, I reached and locked the door and I turned around and I didn't even see me being in the restroom. I was looking at like a theater. I could see that it was like riffles at first, and then it cleared up, and I could see me and my friend getting on our motorcycles outside of the restaurant, and I could see us riding away, riding on down to 123. It turns out of Blanchester towards Morrow, and I saw us riding along. We're riding up, and about 5 miles down the road, I came upon this 32 that crosses over 123, and I saw this vehicle sitting at a stop sign, and my buddy was out in front of me, maybe 50 foot or so, riding along, and I seen this car pull right out in front of him, and I seen this car hit his motorcycle wheel in the front and turn him and slam him into the side of the vehicle. I'm assuming he either was killed or badly hurt.
And this is all part of a vision that you had.
This is all a vision that I saw. I saw this, and it came to me later on that what I saw was like into the future.
Yes.
So I came back out of the bathroom, and before I come out, I unlocked the door, and I heard this voice say, "Do not tell him what you saw." So I thought, man, this is something. I saw all this, and I ain't supposed to tell him. But anyways, I went out and I didn't tell him. We went outside and got on our motorcycles, and before we started it up, I wound up telling him, I said, "Man, be careful." That was all I could think of to say, was just be careful. And he said, "Man, I'm always careful." Well, I said, "Be careful today." Because what I saw, I knew something was up. So we got on our motorcycles and we went exactly the way I saw it in the vision. We went on down 132. We're riding along, and all of a sudden I saw this car, which I saw in the vision, and it pulled right out in front of my buddy, but I seen his tail lights come on his motorcycle, and he started blowing the horn on it. And the car went right across in front of him, just missed him.
Wow.
So I didn't say anything right there at the moment, because we're right here, we pull on up to the next place where we could stop, and I told him, I said, "Man, how did you see this car not hit you?" And he said, "Well, I was watching the front wheel cover, and when it started to turn, it gave me time to stop enough to let that car go on by."
Wow.
And so I saw this car several more times after that, with a little lady driving it all over Wilmington. I'd just be somewhere and I'd see that car go by. So I knew that car almost killed my buddy, but yet from the vision I saw, I was able to warn him a little bit, and then I told him the full story after that. When we got over there, I told him everything that I had saw in the vision, and he was just, it just took him, pretty bad surprise.
Sure. From there, after the lung problems that you'd experienced and the biopsies and whatever came there, what transpired after you were on the motorcycle trip and the vision? You went back and had some more problems with your lungs.
Yes, I did. I had the appointment on the 24th of August. This happened about the first week of August when I saw the vision. But
Right.
the 24th of August, I went in to be operated on and have a couple uh, biopsies done on my left lung, and so they could find out what was causing the problem. So they went in and they did the biopsies, and they a couple, I don't know, they took out two pieces out of my lung, but somewhere along the line they had to bring me back twice because I guess I had stopped breathing or heart stopped or whatever, but they fought and got me back because they told my wife later that I had those problems, and they got me back. But I was in real bad shape. My daughter, she got her pastor to come down, and he came down and prayed for me. And before that, I was considered a sinner because I hadn't accepted Jesus Christ. And so he came down and prayed for me. Of course, at that point in time, they put a thing down my throat so that I could breathe during the operation, and I couldn't talk to him, and I just barely could see him. But he prayed for me, and I, at that point, realized that I needed Jesus in my life. So I accepted Jesus Christ as my Savior there, and I squeezed his hand to let him know that I did that.
Mm-hmm.
So then I began to get better.
Right.
I started getting to the point where after about, I don't know, 7, 8 days there, they felt like well, I could probably go home. So that was on a Sunday, and Monday they was going to release me. Well, Sunday evening something happened, and the nurse found out that she checked me and said there's something wrong, and they rushed me back to the ICU, and I had my left lung had started bleeding out after I guess, I don't know, they worked on me and finally figured out that they were going to have to operate, but they considered me too weak to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, he told my wife, he says, during the night, we're going to have to operate on you because, or they told her they're going to have to operate, sign this paper that he's in pretty bad shape. So they went ahead and they did the operation, and when that operation happened, let's get down here to my book. I got a book here on some of the stuff I wrote. When they done the biopsy, I had a vision, or more or less a out of body experience. I was before I had the out of body experience, I was able to, for some reason I was out of my body, but I could see down my throat. I could see them putting something down my throat, and there was two people, a man and a woman, came to me in a vision and said that don't worry, that what you're seeing, there's a great chief coming, and he's not going to let you die. So then, I assumed that I was going to be okay there. But then I went back, and all of a sudden I could see myself. I was floating up in the ceiling, looking down on the surgeon that was doing this operation on my lungs to keep me, the bleed out. So then I guess when I was watching, I could see the surgeon, and I seen him. I was rolled over and I was strapped in on my right side, and I could watch the surgeon. He was take a knife, and he was opening me up on my left side, cutting it, and he cut about a foot or so, and I could watch him, and he was peeling the skin back, and when I seen him pull the skin back, blood come running out of my side or stomach where the lung was bleeding out. I seen all of that, and first thing I said was, God, I don't want to die. So I kept watching him, doing a few things, and then I realized that I had to ask Jesus. And so I asked Jesus, in Jesus' name, let me live. So then I was taken away at that point I was already out of my body, but I quit watching. I quit watching myself.
Yeah, you were going to a different place.
I was gone, and I appeared with someone. I'm assuming it was an angel that took me away. I was shown. It looked like a great big. I would just consider it like, I'm used to saying a dock, like out where trucks are, dock, a big dock. But all the thing I could see there was 4 stairways going up. It was either stairways or escalators or something. It would look like people were on all 4 of those. And there was an angel standing at the bottom of each one of the stairways. I'm assuming, from what I've been taught about religion, the angels were putting people on there and they were heading on. They weren't coming back. They were going on. But I wasn't in that position of going on. But anyways, each one of those angels was so bright that it almost blinded me to see them. And I tried to look and see their faces, but they were kind of blurred out to where I couldn't actually see their faces. But then after I was shown that, I was told by whoever was with me there that they were going to take me away and show me these cities, these 3 cities in heaven. And then the first city I saw was Red City. It was totally, I assumed it was hell because I don't know any. I was taught it, fire and brimstone, and I could see people in there suffering. They were burning, fire. It was just a terrible scene, and I saw all that. And then there was looked like something flying through the air. I'm assuming it was like a demon coming around and coming right at me, and it had such a terrible expression on there. It was like trying to scare me or whatever it was doing. It was coming toward me. Well, at that moment, I was taken away from there, and then I was showed this 3 cities in heaven. And those cities, one of them was a city that was all white. Everything in there looked like angels. The whole city was just pure. Now I'm assuming that city was either angels, it's just my guess, or they could have possibly been what in the Bibles could have considered the elite, or not elite, but pure in heart.
Right.
The pure in heart, they could be in that perfect city because it was just perfect. All white and beautiful.
Could you make out any buildings or any sort of...
Oh yeah, I could see buildings, I could see streets. Now I was always taught as a youngster and growing up that Jesus was going to go away and prepare a place where it would be streets of gold.
Right.
That's in the Bible. But I didn't see no city with gold or streets of gold. But I did see this city had streets in it. It had buildings. It had people. It was just like people living there. And then when I went to the other city, it was like being out in a real bright, clear, beautiful blue sky day, sun so bright, and everything in that city. And I could see people in all of these cities, but they were just like going about their business. You know what I mean? There was just scenes of all the things that were happening in that city.
And they didn't seem to be aware of you being there.
No, I was like outside looking in. I was the same way with hell. I didn't want to be in there.
No, nobody wants to be there.
No, but anyways, I was looking in at them. And then the same way I went from that blue city to a gray city. I was told this is a gray city. And it looked to me like a cloudy, gray, rainy day. I didn't see rain, but it just appeared to me to be that kind of a day. Well, anyways, I saw that city, and it had the same thing. People were going about their business. I'm looking into it was like I saw before, like where the devil tempted Jesus, and he took him up on a mountain, and he was able to look out, and the city he saw, the devil would give it all to him, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is what appeared to me, that I was seeing in at a city, but that's just how it appeared to me.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, then I went back. I went back to my body.
Okay.
Then I returned to my body, and and then after I returned into my body, it was like I wasn't in my body, but it's hard to explain. I was out of my body. I know I was up in the ceiling watching all
Right.
that, but when I went back into my body, it felt like my spirit had returned because Jesus let it happen. Jesus
Right.
let me come back.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't feel like I didn't have no control of my body at that point.
Right.
I could, I just had that feeling, it wasn't, I don't know where I was being brought back or what the situation was, but it was just a feeling that, I don't know, I was trying to look out of my body. I wasn't looking through my eyes, but I was looking out of my eyes. Not using my eyes, but I could see that through my eyelashes. I could see where they were shut, but they were just a little crack.
Yeah.
A little crack there that I could see through that crack. And I was watching people. I was watching, look like nurses and doctors, everybody's running around, and I could see them, seem like they were, and what really I saw was somebody was up above me watching me.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't see that them weren't nurses.
Right.
There was something up above taking care of me, watching
There
over
were
me.
spirits like.
There was something up there,
Mhm.
and I could see them. But anyways, after I got there and got out of that, it seemed like I progressed, and I think I was in the hospital maybe, I don't know, maybe 10 days, 8 days before I actually woke up.
Okay.
And when I did wake up, the first thing, my wife was there holding my hand.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't talk to her, but she was there, and she brought a tablet over, and she still has the tablet. I would start writing something she'd ask me a question, and I'd write it, you know.
Mm.
And then there would be times I'd start writing, and I would just draw a line, because I'd just go back, you
Yeah.
know. But anyway, she stayed with me through, I stayed in the hospital for, I guess it was about 20 some odd days after the operation, the second one. So I was in there not quite a month, but anyways, I got pretty much well enough for the doctors to let me leave. And so then they brought me home. Of course, I had to have a nurse here all the time.
Mm-hmm.
My wife's sister stayed with me for a month or two, come down during the day, my wife worked, and helped take care of me. I really thank the world of my sister-in-law.
Sure.
Because she did for me during the day what my wife does, you know.
Right.
Come in and take care of me at night. And this went on through therapy. I couldn't walk. I had to learn to use a walker,
Right.
get around, and so now I'm up and able to pretty much get around. I'll have to live on oxygen, but I'm thank the Lord for just being here.
Have you had any more since you've been home from the hospital and have been on the oxygen, but you've been doing much better? Have you had any more visions or
Yes.
things come to you?
Yes, I think I was home about 3 months, I still wasn't, really good at that point. But one morning, my wife, she got up on a Saturday morning and had to leave here for work about 20 after 6. Well, I was laying in bed awake, and I rolled over on my left side and was looking at the clock, and it said 25 minutes after. So I thought my wife, well, she's done gone now. So I heard this voice, and this voice said, "Don, wake up." And I said, "I ain't asleep." I thought it was my wife, I said, "I ain't asleep." And I rolled over, and there stood an angel right in my bedroom, right here at home. An angel now was standing there and had told me to wake up. Now, I don't know if maybe I had quit breathing or maybe something happened, but this angel told me to wake up. And I'm laying there assuming I'm awake, but it could have been something like that. But anyways, this angel was standing right in front of me and had a veil over her head and a full gown, but she wasn't as bright an angel as the one I saw in the stairways and everything.
Yes.
She wasn't that bright, because if she would have been that bright, standing 3 foot off my bed, I'd have went blind. I wouldn't have been able to see her.
Yeah.
It was a toned down white.
Right.
And I looked at her, and now at this point in time, I'm not as scared. I'm not afraid of dying. I want to live as long as Jesus will let me, but I'm not afraid of dying now, because this experience let me know there is life when you die.
Right.
Your body is going to be here dead, but what's in your soul is going to move on. And that I know for sure. So wasn't as scared of this angel. So I wanted to get up and I'm curious now.
You're right.
I want to touch this angel. Well, when I started to raise up, and when I started to raise up out of bed, a big circle completely engulfed this angel, and it had like a rim on it. I could see this rim around this circle, this big white rim that went all the way around the circle, and just as quick as I could snap my fingers, that angel went right through that circle, and it all disappeared.
Wow.
So I'm assuming that that is like going into another dimension, or we're living in this life, but there's another life.
Right.
And that angel went back into that life. But since then, I am watched. I woke up in the middle of the night, and I've just looked up, and I seen like a picture. It looked like a picture, but it was that same angel watching me, and that's happened a couple times.
Wow.
And then there was one time during the night, my wife woke up and she heard someone call my name. She heard it.
She heard it.
Yes, she did. So, this is...
And that makes you feel like it just wasn't you. You know that she's felt it too and seen it too.
Well, yeah, she definitely heard a voice. She's never seen nothing like, I have, as far as an angel's concerned, or any. Of course, what happened to me was all during the time I was, out, and the doctor told her that he knowed that he didn't think I'd make it. But now here is the clincher. This is what I call the clincher.
Okay.
I went 10 days after I got out of the hospital. I had to go back, and I had a railroad full of staples.
Oh, yeah.
All sewed staples. Well, I had to go back to my surgeon in his office that morning to get them staples took out. Well, when me and my wife walked into his office that day, him and his nurse walked in. And I told him, I said, Doc, I want to ask you a question before you get to doing your stuff. I said, I want to ask you this question. I said, did you hear me say, oh God, I don't want to die? And that surgeon sat right there in front of my wife and me and said, yes, I did. And then I went ahead and told him how I saw from up above that I saw him cutting me open, and I told him everything he did, and which pretty much amazed him. And of course now, from the day I woke up, every nurse that would stand and listen to me, I testimonied.
There
I
you
told
go.
every nurse. There must have been 6 or 8 doctors in and out from time to time. And I told them, I said, if you've got time and you want to hear my story, I will tell you everything about the out-of-body experience and everything, the whole story. And I've told it to 6 or 8 doctors down there. I've told it to my family doctor.
Yeah. And the key, your description of what went on with the surgery that you saw out of body matched what the surgeon described as what he did.
Oh, absolutely. When I told him how he cut me open on the left side and how I was laying and where he cut me open and peeled the skin back and where blood all come running out, that's exactly what happened. So,
He didn't have to tell you what happened. You could tell him
I
what
could
happened.
tell him. I just told him what he done. I feel God. Well, Jesus just more or less got a hold of his hands and done everything and took care of and gave him that ability to keep me alive. Because I don't know how long I was out. How long I was out of my body with all these experiences and all the things I went through. I don't know how long that would have took. Could have been quick. He might have been fighting for a half hour to get me back. I don't know.
Well, when it's God's timetable, it could be a matter of seconds or a matter of days or hours.
It could be. I believe in God now. Every day.
Yes.
Every day I thank God.
And that's the key thing. I know you talked about that a little bit, but how has your life changed and your belief in God and Jesus Christ changed through all this?
Well, I always believed in God. I always believed in Jesus. I was a youngster going years ago. I accepted Jesus in my life, and I was baptized in a little river. But as years went on, I got kind of away, like some people kind of fall away. But
Sure.
I really, I always did believe in God. I've always believed in the Bible. I believe in what happens. And now, whenever that pastor come down and prayed for me, I told him, I said, I'll be seeing you when I get able.
There you go.
It changed my life, and I've been going to church and trying to live right. I know every day people have, they have temptations. They're going to we're living in a sinful world.
Absolutely.
So we're not going to get by with not doing something wrong. But every single night, if I don't, something detain me, I will ask Jesus to forgive me of anything I may have done during that day. Because when I go to sleep, if I don't wake up, I want to be living right.
Yeah.
And and if I don't do that, in the next morning, I will thank God and Jesus every day that I'm alive. Another day. If I live to be, I'm 67, but if I was to live to be 80, I'm still going to be thankful every single day. of my life.
How has it changed the lives of people around you that have seen what you went through and with your testimony?
Well, when my testimony is free to anybody, but I would say the pastor of the church, he considers me a miracle. You know, he knows the situation, how bad I was, and he believes the things that I have said in my testimony. He believes what happened to me. He believes I was in the spirit there. He believes everything, and he thinks I'm a miracle because I'm here today. I don't know why I'm here today. I hope that I'm here for a long time, but there's a purpose in my life.
Yes.
I'm here because there's a purpose. It might be this testimony here. Who knows what it is
Mm-hmm.
or why I'm here, but my wife has accepted Jesus since I've been back. I'm sure there's people that's heard my testimony that's changed some of their lives.
Yes.
I know I don't know, I will go in, I went into Walmart one night to get something, and this lady cashier was standing there, and she said something about, me having oxygen and having a problem, and I said, yeah, I did. I said, I had some bad experiences. I said, if you've got time, I will tell you them experiences. And I gave her a testimony for 15 minutes or more, and there was nobody around coming by. There was nobody got in line and gave me time to tell her.
That's great.
And she said, I'm looking for a church. And I said, well, you're welcome to where I'm at.
Yep.
So I give her an invitation to come to that church. So, that does touch people.
Yes.
They are people that won't believe what I'm saying. In fact, it's hard for me to believe before it happened.
Yes.
Just exactly all the things that happened to me.
Yeah. If somebody would have told you a story, a testimony like this, would you have believed it before this happened to you? If somebody would have shared a testimony like what you went through, would you have believed it before this?
I'd have had doubts. I would have definitely had doubts. I'd have thought, they might have dreamed it or something like that. But all these, and later on, I was sitting in the chair here in my home, and it wasn't a vision this time. It was something in my head telling me that this story is an important story, and even gave me a title to put on a book. And I thought, well, I can't write no book. I'm not a writer. I'm just an old retired country boy.
Yes.
But gave me the title, and I wrote it down because I was told this is the way it should be. Now maybe somebody will come along and offer to write it for me because I'm not good at writing and I ain't a good speller.
Yes.
And hopefully I can get someone to write my story. I want everybody that's able to hear this because
Yes.
it's unbelievable how things have happened here. It's just, I can't explain it any more than what I have, how it happened, but it was an amazing thing that happened to me.
And we've talked about this aspect too. What do you feel is the reason that you were shown these visions and taken out of body and shown all the different things with the angels in heaven? What do you feel is the purpose of this, or is there maybe more than one purpose?
Well, there has to be more than just the purpose of me sitting here telling my story. This is a testimony that actually happened to me, but to say that is what my mission is, I don't know. I haven't been told anything. I'm not a preacher.
Right.
I've never had the ability to be a preacher. I can't even remember which books are in the Bible. When I go to hunt them, I got to hunt them. I don't know where one from,
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that I'm not one that can get up. I could stand up and talk all day long, but I can't bring the message like a preacher can bring,
Right.
They can quote the scriptures, they can do what they want to do, but I can't do that because I can't keep them in my mind long
Right.
enough. But I have a mission somewhere, and I don't know what it is. But I don't believe that, my wife now, she's accepted Jesus in her life.
Right.
So that was an accomplishment.
Right.
And anyone else that might hear this that really believe, if they want to get in touch with me, it'll be possible. I don't know, if I give them a number or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
where
We
I should-
can make sure they get a way to
Yeah.
contact you.
Yeah, if we got to figure out a way where anybody that wants to contact me, I'll sit down and tell my story. They can write the story. Anybody that wants to associate with this vision, this is for real. This is in 2012 and 13 is when all this happened in my life. 2014 now, I've been sitting here wondering what's going to happen in my
Yes.
life. But so far, I don't know. But I'm living every day, and I appreciate my life every day. And that's about.
Well, it's a powerful testimony, and I think the more people see this and are able to hear your testimony, I think that can change lives as well. There are going to be, of course, skeptics, and if there's skeptics out there, what would you tell those skeptics?
Well, I wouldn't want to tell the skeptics that, well, if you would have this, you would understand where I'm coming from. If this happened to you, then you would understand. But maybe in their life, they hopefully can take what I'm saying as the gospel and try to maybe pick up the Bible, read the Bible, study, and make what I'm telling them a reality. At first they may not believe it, but later on, if they keep thinking, if they can keep watching this or doing whatever they're doing, keep this on their mind, maybe it'll guide them to church. Who knows? But I know that it's got to help somebody. This didn't happen to me for no reason at all.
Right. Yeah. God has a plan. God has a vision. Jesus Christ is a very powerful force in your life now. Even though you were a believer all of your life, now He's reinforced that belief and strengthened that belief.
Yeah, I went to Bible. I've been in Sunday school. I was taught all the things, and my dad, he preached the gospel, and he was a good man. I just all my life that I had no reason not to believe because I was taught to believe.
Yes.
I've seen things. It amazes me, and when I can see the story of Jesus and how he grew up and how he brought the message and how he done the healing and how he done all the things that he did. If people, that was 2,000 years ago. This happened to me just a couple years ago.
Not that long.
So, the thing of it is, miracles happen today. You can look back, 2,000 years ago was a long time, but he's alive today.
Right.
He's alive in me because I accepted him in me. He's there.
Yes.
I have that feeling. Maybe my purpose in life later on, maybe I'll get the ability, if I can ever get the Holy Ghost on me, maybe I can lay a hand on somebody. Maybe I can heal somebody, or maybe I can help somebody. I don't know what the situation for me is, but I know I am guided by Jesus, and I intend to do His will.
With God and Jesus Christ, all things are possible.
All things are possible. It says in the Bible that you ask it in Jesus' name, and it will be done.
You asked Him to spare your life, and He did.
He did. So I know it can be done.
Absolutely. Well, if after watching this, if you aren't believing, if you aren't a believer, then your heart needs to be softened and changed, because this testimony is the most powerful testimony I've heard. and with Don's story, with what he went through, and the visions, and all that transpired while you were in the hospital and out of the hospital. Unbelievable testimony. Well, I can't say unbelievable because, as we said, all things are possible.
All things are possible, and I do believe that people will be touched by this. People won't be, but maybe they will see this. I'm hoping tons of people see this and it'll touch their lives and they can accept Jesus Christ the way we live it now.
Yes, yes. Well, if you're not touched, you need to see Don firsthand, and I think you'll be a believer after that. Well, Don, I thank you for your time, and it's just unbelievable, and I can't say unbelievable. I keep wanting to say that, but it is just
It's
the
amazing.
most powerful testimony that I've
Powerful.
ever heard with your experiences, and I believe every word of it. I believe that all of this happened, and happened for a reason, and for various reasons. So we want to thank Don for sharing his testimony, and we hope that you will be touched by it, and your life may be changed by it. We thank you, and we thank Don for his powerful testimony.
And I want to give all the credit to Jesus Christ. Amen.